What's going on? So, I always say that Jesse Owens, Althea Gibson, and Arthur Ashe never get the full due that they deserve. Um, Competing at the highest level in the face of hate and ignorance of what they all accomplished. There should be even more documentary books about them. Um, you know, I remember I was on a stargazing expedition a few years ago on a boardwalk, and the guy had his telescope, and he said, if we could go back to the 1936 Olympic Games, and I thought Jesse Owens, Adolf Hitler in Germany. What he accomplished was mind blowing. That's back when athletes weren't just athletes; they were role models. They were real models. They were real. That's what Charles Barkley was talking about. I'm not your role model. But you see, what you don't get is if you understand the totality of the black athlete, what they really meant, what they were really about, you know, to be able to compete in a sport and dominate track and field, to go there and to run that and to be the top of your game was mind blowing, mind numbing, and it had to leave Hitler speechless. And that needs to be more. There was a movie out, recently, but you could still do more documents about how Jesse Owens was treated when he came back to American soil, the frustration, the politicking, and so-called presidents, no matter what party, didn't give this man a fair balance of treatment. He was treated like a second-class citizen when he came back to the States. That should be documented. When people talk about, oh, you Republican, you're Democratic, you're this and that, it didn't mean nothing. They treated that man less than for what he accomplished in the face of hate because they were doing it themselves. That's why I have all those wars and all that stuff. But here he was competing for medals, which didn't really carry weight to justify the balance of what it was. So, Althea Gibson playing tennis, first African American female tennis player, predated what Serena Williams went through, but they went through it. They always like a continuous flow and ebb and flow. But when you think about Althea Gibson at that time, uh, groundbreaking, uh, and happened to compete at a high level. And, when you think about all that, it's just really powerful of the forces and everything that's going on. You can't help but be, you're touched by it. And it leaves you like, wow, it wasn't that long ago. Things aren't like this mystical so long ago that if you're 75 years old, so you're very familiar with Althea Gibson. Very familiar. If you're about 80 plus, you know what Jesse Owens went through coming back to the States. So those sort of stories, you need to like tell them. And it's